Alright, I am Tahuti Kepura Iteru. Now this video right here will be our most groundbreaking video I have ever released. In this video right here, I have made a major breakthrough dealing with the science of the spirit and the nature of this reality right here. So again, this is going to be the most groundbreaking video I've ever released right here. So now this video right here, I'm going to be dealing with quantum physics, right, and the nature of this reality, and I'll also link it back to ancient Kemet, right, and show you how the ancient Egyptians knew of this, of the nature of this reality, dealing on the level of waves and particles right here. So let's get into this. And the main source for this video will be the Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot, right? So now let's start off with the basics of quantum physics, and also the basics and how it leads into this holographic universe theory. So now, everything in the physical world is made of molecules, right? Now these molecules are then made up of atoms, right? Now these atoms are then made up of smaller subatomic particles known as protons, neutrons, and electrons. Now, but the state of matter is defined by the movement of these electrons within that molecular structure, right? So, but the molecules of this physical world are based on the chemical bonds that these electrons form with the atoms of other electrons, right? And also chemical reactions are when electrons lose their current bond and form another bond, right, producing another chemical. Now, so all the matter you know in this physical world is based on the relationship that the electron has with the electron of another atom. That's the basis of the matter of this physical world, right? And based on the molecular structure that the electron forms, or the atomic structure that it forms now, produce the different styles of shapes and textures you see in this physical world right here. Now, so the key to understand this holographic universe theory is to understand the nature of the electron. So let's go into this electron right here. Now, an extract from the book Holographic Universe says, although an electron can sometimes behave as if it were a compact little particle, physicists have found that it literally possesses no dimension. This is difficult for most of us to imagine because everything at our level of existence possesses dimension. And yet, if you were to try and measure the width of an electron, you would discover it is an impossible task, right? An electron is simply not an object as we know it. Another discovery physicists made is that an electron can manifest as either a particle or a wave. If you shoot an electron at a screen of a television that has been turned off, a tiny point of light will appear when it strikes the phosphorescent chemicals that coat the glass. The single point of impact that the electron leaves on the screen clearly reveals the particle-like side of its nature. But this is not the only form that the electron can assume. It can also dissolve into a blurry cloud of energy and behave as if it were a wave spread out over space. When an electron manifests as a wave, it can do things no particle can. The electron, like some shapeshifter out of folklore, can manifest as either a wave or a particle, right? So again, the electron can manifest as a wave or a particle. So now from this, I will show you how it constitutes to the holographic universe right here. Now, another extract from the book, The Holographic Universe, says, the only time quanta, or quantum electrons, manifest as particles is when they are being observed. When they are not being observed, they behave as a wave. Quantum also refers to a wave particle, a term used to describe something that has both wave and particle aspects, right? Other quantum manifest as particles when you are looking at them, but all other times they behave as waves. So now, what makes the holographic universe is this. As mentioned, everything in the physical world is made of molecules, and then these molecules are then made up of atoms and subatomic particles, but the molecules are made up when the electron forms a bond with the electron of another atom, right? But the electron is a wave, but it only manifests as a particle when you're observing it. But it manifesting as a particle is then being able, so then it can So then it can form a bond with other atoms, right, to produce the molecules and the matter of this physical world, right? So matter itself is literally based on your observation, and only through observation it becomes real. So this is what we're doing right here, right? So now if we go deeper into the science of the electron now, another extra from the holographic universe says, which most people may not know, is that consider an extremely unstable atom physicists call a positronium. The positronium atom is composed of an electron and a positron. A positron is an electron with a positive charge. Because a positron is an electron's antiparticle opposite, the two eventually annihilate each other and decay into quanta of light or photons traveling in opposite directions. The capacity to shapeshift from one kind of particle is just another of quantum's abilities, right? So what it's saying here is that light itself is when electron collides with its counterpart, the positron, and they annihilate each other, which is where they collide, release energy, and disappear. But in this case, before they annihilate each other, they merge and form a combined particle called the positronium, right? And when they decay of this annihilation, it produces photons. Now again, photons are light particles. As like an electron, they can also manifest as a wave or a particle, right? But the photon is classed as a wave packet. But we're gonna go, we're gonna go deep into that, right? The wave packet now. Also, but one key thing is that you also, so one key thing is that you also have the electromagnetic spectrum. But the key thing about the whole electromagnetic spectrum is that the whole spectrum is light. So the visible part of the electromagnetic spectrum, that's not just the light. The whole spectrum is light. So the whole thing is photons, right? But some of it you can't actually see, right? But the only part of it you can see, they call it visible light. You see what I'm saying? So rather than just call the whole thing light, they would say it's the electromagnetic spectrum, but the whole spectrum is light. That's the key, right? That's the key. So different frequencies of light, right? Now another extract from the holographic universe says, a plasma is a gas containing a high density of electrons and positive ion atoms that have a positive charge. To his amazement, he found that once they were in a plasma, electrons stopped behaving like individuals and started behaving as if they were part of a larger interconnected whole. Although their individual movements appeared random, vast numbers of electrons were able to produce effects that were surprisingly well organized. Once again, he found that the seemingly hazardous movements of individual electrons managed to produce highly organized overall effects, like the plasmas he studied at Berkeley. These were no longer situations involving two particles, each behaving as if they knew what each other was doing, but entire oceans of particles, each behaving as if they knew what untold trillions of others were doing, right? Now, this extract from the book Holographic Universe lines up with the findings of physicist Jean Charron, right, who stated that the electron space-time continuum has memory of past events and continuously and endlessly empowers and enriches not only what we call mind, but every single cell of our being. Electrons are the building blocks of life. Are able to exchange information with each other in ever continuous flow of life's evolution. He portrays the electron as a veritable micro-universe. In this micro-universe, phenomena takes place, right? Charon claimed that his research into the physics of elementary particles showed that electrons have the ability to store information, right? They have a system of remembering and retrieving such information that they communicate and cooperate with other electrons to create and operate complex systems, right? Now, another extract from the Holographic Universe says that, in notion, reminiscent of Bohm's assertion that every electron in some way contains the cosmos. So, in summary, the electron has memory, but not just any memory, but memory of the whole universe. And when they come into contact with each other, they are able to exchange information with each other, right? Also, once in contact with each other, they operate as one rather than individuals, showing that it doesn't matter whether they are in the universe, all electrons are the same, right? So now I want to go deeper into this and show you the quantum mechanics of the electron and how it relates to spirit. So there I just gave you a breakdown of the electron based on what quantum physicists are saying about the electron, but really I want to show you how it links to spirit. That's the whole key to this video right here. I want to show you how it links to this spirit right here. So another extract from the book Holographic Universe says that he began assuming that particles such as electrons do exist in the absence of observers. Building on these premises, he discovered that simply by proposing the existence of a new kind of field on this sub-quantum level, he was able to explain the findings of quantum physics as well as Bohr could. Bohr called this proposed new field quantum potential, right? And theorized that, like gravity, it pervaded all of space, right? Now, the holographic universe model means the holographic universe model means nothing unless you give an indication of another reality. But interestingly enough, this whole concept of quantum potential is only spoken about around 3 times in the whole book. But this quantum potential is the key, right? That's the key. So to put it another way, if a tree were to fall down in a forest where nobody is around to witness it, does that tree still make a sound? Right? Now most people would say yes. Right? Most people would say yes, but by saying yes, but the tree making a sound is a quantum event, such as the vibrations and the energy conversion that would cause such a disturbance in the quantum field to produce a sound, right? So by saying yes, people, what you are agreeing to is that there is a quantum reality that exists outside human perception, right? And this is what physicists are calling quantum potential, right? Which essentially means that all electrons, although they seem separate, are actually ever connected, and they are non-locally interconnected and actually one in the same. But these same electrons are dimensionless and exist in the absence of observers. In so many words, what they are saying is that there are electrons that are seen and electrons that are unseen, but the ones that are seen are ever connected to the electrons that are unseen, right? And they are no different to the electrons that are unseen, but in fact they are non-locally connected, right? So it doesn't matter where they are ever connected. So in other words, there is a chain of electrons that is ever connected that can exist in the absence of observers. Means that there is an ever pervasive chain of electrons that permeates through the whole of the universe. So it doesn't matter. So not only does it indicate the existence of another world, but it shows an existence of another reality that this reality is seated upon, right? And this is what the ancients called the spirit world. Now we're getting into some stuff right here. So, but these physicists don't want to actually call it the spirit world, so they call it quantum potential, but it's talking about the same concept. So when the ancients, so the whole thing with this video right here is that when the ancients were talking about that spirit world, it wasn't pseudo. When they were talking about the spirit world, they knew of this quantum potential, and they had higher science to explore this quantum potential. And then they could map out the spirit world now, based on dealing with other different things, such as, different hallucinogenics now, dealing with the brain again. So they could map out the spirit world. You see, but again, we'll go more deep into that a bit later. So now, going back to the holographic universe, it says that one of Bohr's most startling assertions is that the tangible reality of our everyday lives is really a kind of illusion, like a holographic image. Underlining it is a deeper order of existence, a vast, more primary level of reality that gives birth to all the objects and appearances of this physical world, in much the same way what a piece of holographic film gives birth to a hologram. Now, the definition of a hologram from the book Tarot Dictionary and Compendium or whatever says, a laser beam is concentrated focused light in the electromagnetic spectrum, which makes it like other light, except enables us to see things that our eyes don't register in ordinary diffuse light. A hologram is produced by splitting a laser beam so that The laser reflects back onto itself, right? The result is a three-dimensional image that in all ways, except for its lack of material barrier, looks and acts like a three-dimensional reality. Right. Okay, so one more now. So, when the electron appears to be moving, it is due to the continuous series of such unfoldments and enfoldments. Put another way, electrons and all other particles are no more substantive or permanent than the form of a geyser of water as it gushes out of a fountain. They are sustained by a constant influx from the implicate order, and when a particle appears to be destroyed, it is not lost, it is merely enfolded back into the deeper order from which it sprang. So again, that was just going through some of this information that these physicists are saying about the electron right here. So again, we just had to go through that right there to lay the foundation. But now we want to get into the real stuff right here. Now we want to get into the real stuff. So now you know the electron is the building block of this reality. Now I want to show you how this physical reality manifests right before your eyes. And the key here is the sun and what the sun represents. So now in ancient cultures, the sun was represented as a god within a chariot that transverses the sky. Now in India, this god was Surya, the sun god Surya. In Egypt, it was Ra/Atenra, and in Sumeria, it was the sun god Shamash. Right? Now a lot of people will think that the sun god Surya is the sun, but the truth is that the physical sun you see in the sky is the chariot itself. That's the chariot, right? The physical sun is the chariot, right? And the horses now will be the movements of the sun. So what the ancients are trying to say here is that there is something else behind the sun, there is another force behind the sun, and that force is the true God. So now I want to get into some stuff right here. So now in Egypt now, let's see which one we can show right here. Okay, hopefully you can see this right here. So now in Egypt now, they have the sun right here, right? And packets, these wave packets, right, coming from the sun right here. Right, I don't know if you can see that around down there now. But see, that would represent the hills and the sun in the horizon right there. You see. But we'll go more deeper into that a little bit later. But again, you see these wave packets, right? Hopefully you can see that right there, the wave packets right there. Right. But again, those wave packets are photon particles. So I'm saying, so it shows how the Egyptians understood these wave particles. They understood it, right? But there is also another depiction from the temple of Dendera Haor now. Again, hopefully you can see this one right here. You see these same wave packets coming from a sun into what it looks like a second sun, right? Coming from a sun into a second sun. Now that sun right there, now that second sun, if I can pull it up right here, if I got it right here. Again, so if you look closely at that now, you see the sun down the bottom there, right? You see that there. It's the same as this right here. The two lines with the sun right here, and this right here represents the physical sun in the horizon right here. And the two lines will be Shu and Tefnut. So what this shows right here. So again, Shu and Tefnut will represent time and space. So what the Egyptians are trying to tell you is that there is a force behind the sun, and this force behind the sun is producing wave particles, which is creating life on this physical realm. That's what they're trying to show right there, right? But how we know this to be true is that, again, if you pull something else up now, hopefully you can see this now. How we know this to be true is that you see the symbol of the god Ra. So this right here is the hieroglyph for Ra. And as you can see right here, you see this symbol right here, which will be the same symbol that in modern physics now, which will be the atom. That's the atom. There's no mistaking right there. Right, that right there would be the atom. Right. Now this right here now would actually be string theory. That would be string theory. Let me show you something right here. See that? This right here is modern string theory. So again, it's the same. You see that right there? It's the same concept right there. It's the same concept. It's string theory. Then you see the hand now. Again, it's the same concept. Look at that. So I'm saying string theory in Egypt. Look at this. You see that? String theory in Egypt. Now, string theory now, if we're going to quickly just briefly on string theory. Modern string theory states that in the beginning of creation there was different vibratory strings of energy, and these vibratory strings of energy give forth to the atoms subatomic particles of this physical world, which then bring forth the molecules and the atomic bonds and things of that nature that make up the physical world. So it's saying from these vibratory strings of energy bring forth the atoms and also the different forces of this reality. But there is an infinite number of strings, thus an infinite number of variations of reality, right, that can be created. But what the whole science of string theory, what these scientists are trying to do is that they're trying to find the vibratory frequency that gave birth to our reality. But there's so many, they can't do it, right? They can't do it, but that's the basis of what they're trying to do right there, right? Also, they understand that a single string can give rise to multiple universes at any given time. So you could have multiple universes operating simultaneously, which what they call the multiverse. So rather than a universe, now they like to call it the multiverse. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to show you how the Egyptians had knowledge of string theory and quantum physics, right? Okay, so now I want to get into the real stuff right here. Now I want to show you. So we dealt with all that now. Oh, actually, I didn't show you one more thing. Actually, one more. I didn't show you this, my bad. So again, you see. Actually, no, that's late. Actually, I'm gonna show you that later. I'm gonna show you that later. Actually, I'm gonna show you that later. Okay, so now I wanna go into how this reality was manifested. Wait a second. Let me get my stuff sorted out. All right, that's all right. Okay, so now I want to show you how this reality manifested. So now I want to read you a quote from this guy named Dr. Frank Barr and his theory right here. He says that matter is shaped and structured by light. That is, matter is organized through the interaction of molecules composed of slowed down light. These molecular combinations eat light in order to maintain and expand and evolve matter. The more highly evolved a species, the more complex its biological capacity to use light. This is what he's saying right here. So now I want to show you how this reality is even manifests right here. Now we're getting into some stuff right here. So based on this right here, we know that reality is created like this. So every form of matter contains carbon, but carbon has a crystalline-like structure, right? And crystal now is able to refract light, so the light changes direction, but it has a crystalline light structure. So what happens is that the light is then trapped in this crystalline light structure, right? And then it refracts now and produces an image. It produces an image, which is a holographic image, because this same light is reflecting back onto itself, which is what a hologram is. You see what I'm saying? So it's light reflecting back on itself based on the carbon's crystalline structure, trapping the light to produce this image right here. So, but depending on the type of intelligent carbon a being has, dealing with melanin now, a being doesn't necessarily have to be limited to a human being. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be limited to a human being. Also, you always hear people talk about, God and intelligent design. Melanin is the intelligent design, right? Melanin is the intelligent design right here. Get a bit dark right now. So melanin is the intelligent design. Now, melanin is the God that got condensed into the physical form, right? And based on its crystalline structure that it got condensed in, it refracts light at different angles, which produces this residual image you call the physical body. So that is how it works right now. Also, the different forms that this intelligent entity melanin got condensed in also produce the different life forms and animals that you see, right? Different animals that you see right here. So now when it comes to spirit, and now this is where it's deep. Now this is where I want to get into some stuff right here. So now, when it comes to spirit now, the spirit itself is radiation. That's what the spirit is. So now you have something called cosmic rays. Now they say cosmic rays now from outer space. So cosmic rays come from outer space, and they say that a majority of these cosmic rays are protons and neutrons, right? And they say only 1% is electrons. But the sun is plasma. So the sun is in the cosmos, and the sun is plasma. But the sun, being plasma, is essentially a sea of electrons, right? And ionized particles, which are atoms that have lost or gained electrons. So what happens here is this: these electrons from cosmic rays now annihilate each other, and when they annihilate each other, they produce radiation, and then from this radiation you get energy, and this energy that is released is known as the life force that you know as spirit right here. So that's the key. So again now, let me see, let me pull that up real quick. Okay, we'll give it to them. So now, so how this works here is this: you breathe in these charged particles, right? You breathe in these charged particles, and then they annihilate inside your body, and this annihilation produces radiation and energy, right? But there's also a but how we know this to be true is that there's a radiation inside your physical body. Now, for years, these scientists were saying that this radiation, it was just heat, but it's actually infrared. Now, this infrared is part of the electromagnetic spectrum, and as I said before, the whole spectrum is light. So the whole electromagnetic spectrum is photons. They're photons, right? So it's just different variations of light, some of which you cannot see. And dealing with infrared now, you can't actually see it, but you can feel it. So it manifests as heat, but it's not actually heat. It's actually light. You see what I'm saying? It's actually light. Now, another thing I want to quickly go into now: atoms like to absorb radiation, right, from this electromagnetic spectrum. But radiation such as gamma rays and X-rays is what they like to call ionizing radiation. So what happens is that when the gamma rays hit the atom now, it can excite the atom so much that electrons actually leave the atom, and that would be a positive ion. Or it can excite it so much now that more electrons join the party, and that would be known as a negative ion. You see what I'm saying? So it's ionizing radiation. So this is why they say, you shouldn't really have too many X-rays and things of that nature, because X-rays is classed as ionizing radiation, which can actually which could ionize the atoms in your body, which could lead to, certain diseases and damaging of cells right now. Right. So again, as mentioned previously now, so going back to this now, the electron annihilating the positron produces the photon. So the fact that there is infrared inside your body shows that there must be an electron annihilation taking place inside your body, right? So the spirit is energy exchange of cosmic rays from the sun, right? So let me get that up right here. So the spirit now is cosmic rays, is an energy exchange of cosmic rays from the sun, bringing forth these electron ions, right? And these electron ions react with the electrons inside your body to produce radioactivity, and this radioactivity brings forth the nuclear energy. This radioactivity brings forth a type of energy, and this energy is the animating life force you know as spirit. So again, the Egyptians, they knew this. So we take a look at this right here. We see the god Ra now, and we see those same wave packets. So this person right here now, she's breathing in, taking in these charged ion, these electrons right here, these wave particles, and then they're annihilating inside her body now, producing energy and radiation, and that energy is the animated life force you know as spirit. So again, the Egyptians knew this. Look at this right here. You see what I'm saying? So they knew this right there. But it's spiritual because it's spiritual because the electron is not bound by any dimension, right? And the electron can exist in the absence of observers, right? But the electron is ever connected, and it exchanges information with those electrons. So the electrons that you see are ever connected to the electrons that you can't see. You see what I'm saying? And it's spiritual because it exists in the absence of observers. So these electrons, these charged ions, are ever connected to electrons that exist in the absence of observers. And when they annihilate in your body and they essentially disappear, they're not actually disappearing, but again, it's going back into this unfolded order right there. This unfolded order which we spoke about before. So that's the spirit world right here. That's the spirit world. But they don't want to call it the spirit world, but that's what it is right there. You see what I'm saying? It's this unfolded order. So now going back to this now. So again, this energy that's released now is the animating force of life, because only living organisms that can breathe in these charged ions from cosmic rays of the sun can experience life. So life is breath. So from breathing in these charged ions from cosmic rays is how your body is continued to be animated right here. So that's the key. But it's consciousness that tells you to breathe. Through consciousness, you know that breathing is quintessential to life on this planet. You see what I'm saying? This is why breathing now, you don't have to be taught how to breathe. You just know how to breathe because there is higher consciousness. There is a consciousness that is telling you that you need to breathe in order to sustain life on this planet. You see what I'm saying? There's no coincidence. Life is synonymous with breath right here. Again, now this consciousness is coming from a higher place, from beyond the physical. So it shows how consciousness was in existence before the body, and all that exists is energy, vibration, and frequencies right here. So it's not so again now. So it's not that you are human feeling emotions with feelings and emotions. You are energy thinking you're in a physical body, right? So people are energy, and your connection to people is based on an energy transfers right here. It's an energy transference. That's your connection to other people, an energy exchange. So this person is your friend because you're used to their energy. You are familiar with their energy. You see what I'm saying? You're comfortable with that person's energy. People are energy. That's all we are. You see what I'm saying? The physical reality, you think you're in a physical body. You see what I'm saying? But we're going to go deeper into this physical reality right here. So now we know how this physical reality is manifested. Now I want to talk about how this human experience is created. And this brings us to the human brain right here. So now this is the key. So now science understands that it's not your eyes that see, but your brain, it's your brain that interprets the image. So your eyes are simply light receptors that perceive light but don't actually make up the image. Now, another extract from the Holographic universe says, our brains mathematically construct objective reality by interpreting frequencies that are ultimately projections from another dimension, a deeper order of existence that is beyond both space and time. The brain is a hologram enfolded in a holographic universe. The true nature of reality remains hidden from us. Our brain operates as a holographic frequency analyzer, decoding perceptions from a fundamental decoding perceptions from a more fundamental perception, right? Now, an extract from the book Phenomenal World and Remote Viewing says, the waves and frequencies that are out in space and time only appear as concrete reality based on our holographic brain, which takes this cosmically generated holographic blur. So he's talking about this cosmically generated holographic blur now of frequencies and converts it into a solid objective reality. That's what the brain's doing. It's converting these holographic blurs now of frequencies, and it's converting into a solid concrete reality. That's what the brain's doing right here. This is what your brain is doing. You see what I'm saying? So your brain is doing. So your brain creates this so now your brain creates is what's creating this human experience. Your brain tells you that you need to eat. Your brain tells you that you need to drink. Right? And it's your brain that tells you that you're tired, you're exhausted, and you need to rest. It's your brain that tells you this. So again, this brain conjures up this reality based on consciousness, vibrations, energies, and frequencies, right? Which all exist in the primal realm before the physical. You see what I'm saying? As these are the only things that exist right here. So, going into the brain now, what happened was that this, as I mentioned in another video, what happened was that this physical brain developed now. It developed, and it could no longer see the energies and vibrations of from the primal realm, but it could only see a small part of this electromagnetic spectrum. You see, thus it began to create physical holographic images based on this light refraction. You see, this is why there is no coincidence that people say that certain drugs allow you to reach higher levels of consciousness, as all these drugs are doing now is they are offsetting and shutting down certain parts of the brain, thus allowing you to perceive aspects of the primal realm that already exists all around you. You see what I'm saying? But you were not able to perceive it based on the physical brain right here. Okay, so now I want to show you how even this right here, the Egyptians knew about this. So again, we're going to go back to this right here, which I was going to show you before. The Egyptians knew about this. So again, we see, hope you can see that. You can see it now. So the sun right there, the physical sun. I mean, no, yeah, well, that would be Ra. Yeah, the sun right there, that would be Ra. And you see, again, you see these wave particles. Now these wave particles, wave packets now are coming into this deity right here. Now, who is this deity right here? This deity is none other than Hathor or Heru right here. This is Heru. So what's taking place? So again, this symbol of Heru. Now again, so again you see the depiction again now from the wave particles that are emanating now into Heru, right? So what they're trying to show you is that these wave particles are giving, so these wave particles right here are giving birth or forming Haor. They are giving rise to Haor. Now Haor means the house of Haor, or Haor dwells in the house. Now Haor is also the sun disk. She's the eye of Haor. So if we, so again, if we go back to this image now, you see what I'm saying? I can't. Hopefully you can see it well, but you probably can't see it as well. But basically, those would be the hills right there. Those would be the hills, and then Hathor now, she is the sun disk inside the hills, which again is the same image right here. The sun disk inside the hills, so she's the sun disk inside the hills right here. Let's see, okay, focus right now. It's focusing. So again, she's the sun disk inside those hills right there. So dealing with Hathor now, you see what I'm saying? Haor dwells in the house, but also I want to show you right here. Let's get it up right here. Where is it now? This right here is the hieroglyphic symbol of Hathor. So Haor, the zoomorphic form of Haor inside the house of Haor. But if you notice this symbol now, some of you may recognize this. What does that look like right there? If I turn it this way, what is that? That's a right angle. You see what I'm saying? That's a right angle which goes into mathematics right there. Now, but if we go back to the extract from the holographic universe, it says our brains mathematically, our brains mathematically construct objective reality by interpreting frequencies that are ultimately projections from another dimension. And again, we have the mathematics right here, which is Hathor, the right angle right here. So now, so based on this, what they're trying to say here is this. The goddess Hathor represents physicality, physical creation, the human brain. That's what Hathor represents, which is why her symbol now is the right angle, the mathematical interpretation that the brain creates. She is the physical brain. You see what I'm saying? So again, she's the human brain. That's what Hathor represents, physical creation. And you see it down there now, the duality of physical creation, the black and the white right there, the duality of physical creation, which Hathor is manifesting. Right. So again, also another symbol of Hathor, you haven't got it here, but if you look at Hathor, you see she also has a type of house over her head, and that house is pi. So again, dealing with this mathematics, which is the makeup of this physical realm, which the brain is interpreting. So she's the house of Haor, which is consciousness. So how consciousness is seated in this physical realm, in this realm of physicality, right? But it's not the brain itself, but exists within the brain's framework. Right, but it was in existence before. So again, also now, this is why when you go to the temple of Dindera Hathor now, you see this astronomical ceiling. So when you look at the temple of Dindera Hathor, you see this astronomical cosmological ceiling. And what they have is these pillars of Hathor, which is the faces of Hathor, 4 faces of Hathor around these pillars. And you have the zodiac of Dindera, the astronomical ceiling. So what they're trying to show you here is this. This cosmological astronomical ceiling is the true reality, right? Is the true reality. And then it's condensed and interpreted by the human brain. The pillars of Hathor is condensed through and interpreted by the human brain. And then coming down now, you see the physical world that is produced. And this physical world you see around you. So they're depicting it in the temple of Hathor right there. You see what I'm saying? So now, if you pull it all together, your soul is Ra, who gives rise, who is the projector. So your soul is Ra, who is projecting an image of yourself on Earth via these electrons, which give rise to photons, which are light particles, and then these light particles get trapped now in these crystalline structures of melanin and also carbon now, which then, so now this same light that your soul is projecting is now reflecting back onto itself, which produces this residual image that you know as the physical body, right? And the animating life force you know as spirit is the annihilation of these electrons inside your body, which produces radiation and energy. And the energy that is produced is the animating life force you know as spirit. But it's spiritual because these electrons are ultimately coming from a place beyond the physical realm, and they have universal memory from the beginning of existence. So that's why it's spiritual, you see. So dealing with the sun now, the definition of sun right here, the sun is essentially Based on this right here, dealing with these electrons right here, the sun is essentially solidified spirit, as it is a source of these electrons that is animating your physical body that you know as spirit. You see what I'm saying? So now this brings me to death right here. Now there is no coincidence that death is synonymous with the absence of breath, as you are no longer breathing in a fresh influx of electrons to produce the radioactivity to facilitate the movement of your physical body, right? So there really is no death, right? Because you never existed here in the first place. Your physical brain created the illusion that you were here, so your physical brain is telling you that you're here, but you don't exist here. You see what I'm saying? So when you die now, you don't go back. It's not that you go back to where you came. You were never even here in the first place. You see what I'm saying? All what's happening is you're projecting an image of yourself that you are here. That's what's happening here. You see what I'm saying? So lastly, based on this information right here, the truth is that there is no physical body. There is no earth. The only thing that exists is consciousness and energy. And the physical realm doesn't even exist. It's based on light refraction, and your brain makes it real, right? So it's not whether we exist. So now I want to go into this. So it's not whether we exist on a ball earth or a flat earth. There is no earth, as your brain makes it real. And the reason why the earth appears to be flat, as your eyes can only perceive light from straight lines, but your brain only perceives from a 2D perspective. But you see only one angle at any given time, so the world appears to be flat. So a lot of conspiracy theorists now, they're talking about the government patrolling the edge of the earth, and you see what I'm saying, the government's patrolling the edge of the earth and things of that nature, which they say is the ice ring of Antarctica. But the reason why they patrol it is because it's not that you will fall off the edge, but the reason why is because if you go so far over there, you might just end up back over here. You see what I'm saying? If you go so far over there, you might just end up back over here, right? You see what I'm saying? So again, it's because we exist in a type of subspace right here, a type of space-time continuum within a greater space-time continuum, right? Which is being encased by your human brain, right? By your human brain. So what's happening here is that your brain is literally warping this reality around you. So as you exist in this reality, your brain is warping this reality experience around you. You see what I'm saying? So the best way for them to explain it, rather than explain the string theory and the quantum physics, the best way for them to explain it is to say that you live on a round earth. But this reality is essentially a hall of mirrors, and your brain is warping this reality around you based on quantum physics and string theory. You see what I'm saying? So the conclusion here is that it's not that the earth is flat, right, or the earth is round. The truth is we exist in a holographic reality, and everything you see is being created by a brain that can only experience a limited perspective. You see what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the end of the video. You know what I'm saying? Running out of time right there, so I have to quickly speed up right there. But you know, that's pretty much it right here. So again, you know, so again, black people, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you took some good information from this. Alright, black people, thanks for watching.